Manchester United cruise past woeful Wolves 4-1 at the Molineux as Bruno scores a brace, and United move up to 6th place in the league. Let's break down this match. Sir, are you getting overly excited about beating 2-point Wolves at their house 4-1?
Look, it's a huge victory for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes, top assist maker in the league. He looked great in an attacking position. Maybe we should put Kobe Mainoo on and put him up the pitch, but it was a great result for Manchester United. Back against the wall, murmurs about the manager, Ratcliffe, Sir Jim fighting in the stands. It had everything you wanted at the Molineux, and it was sweaty at halftime. This is one way to do it. You could play him off the park for a full 90. We didn't. How are you feeling?
Hey, it's all about the result. It's all about beating the team in front of you. Wolves were the team in front of us. Worst team in the league. Worst team potentially in the history of the league. I think 11 points is the total that they have to eclipse in order to not be the worst in the league. Let's get into that 11, sir. Let's break down this match. But like you said, it wasn't great in the first half, but Wolves are bad. Wolves are really bad. And the second half, United turned it on much more clinical. We tore them apart. Honestly, a top competent United side scores 10 goals today. Like, we should have just blown them out of the water. But I'm happy with the 4 goals. Happy with the brace. Let's break down the 11. Tell me about it.
We had Sen Lamens in net, Luke Shaw, Heaven, Mazraoui center back pairing. Dalot, Bruno Casemiro midfield with Dalot at right wing back. Cunha, Mbeumo, and Mason Mount up front. What do you think of this 11?
I like that Mount was back in the fold. I thought when him and Cunha and Mbeumo have kind of linked up this time, this season, earlier in the season when they were all fit, I thought the level of just pressing and energy was nice. So I was happy to have that back in. Not a lot of surprises other than maybe Heaven having to be the, once again, anchor in the 3 with Maguire and Dalot still out. So no major issues, sir. Anything else that kind of caught your attention when you saw this 11?
No, I like the attack. Manager's not getting too adventurous. Obviously, of injuries at defense. So it was going to be a little shaky for Manchester United going into this game. Sir, you want to jump into it?
Let's get into it. United pretty poor, which was not as to be expected, but Wolves were even poorer. So United had some early chances in that first half, most notably in the 7th minute. United with a quick kickoff after a foul. Dalot is found one-on-one with the keeper, but a decent save from Johnston, the old United Academy player, and then Mbeumo actually does well from the following corner. Also another good save. But the action that really happened was the 25th minute. This goal is not for the history books, not an instant classic by any means, but Bruno Fernandes gets his goal, first one since September, in the 25th minute.
But no one showing for the ball there, but it's good pressure by Casemiro, and it breaks the way of Cunha. He's got support there too. Fernandes slipping. Got a shot away though. Oh, and it goes in! Bruno Fernandes with the opening goal of the game. What calamitous defending there from Wolves. And the bottom team made to pay. Fernandes.
I mean, this was a hysterical goal. United, whatever, we'll take it. Goal from open play. Bruno Fernandes nets for Manchester United. 1-0. Let's kick on from here. Let's not make it nervy.
We did make it nervy. I'm glad we got a goal. Glad Bruno got it. Comedy of errors. I think it speaks to just how poor Wolves are that we somehow found a way to get a goal, even when Cunha got the pass wrong. But Bruno slots home after falling down. Johnson can't do anything about it. 1-0 United. We should roll on from here, sir, shouldn't we? Or maybe not. We did have some chances, but it was a little bit slower throughout that first half. Cunha's rebound was cleared off the line because United were just kind of peppering in right after this goal, trying to keep the momentum up and trying to get a second goal. Ahmad went close with a rebound, and then there was a preceding 36-minute. Cunha had a looping header from a corner, not far over. But Wolves started to grow into that second half a little bit, most notably when they had a dangerous chance at the far post in the 40th minute. Nothing came of it.
Yeah, but here's the deal with Manchester United. We score this goal, we go up by 1. And to be honest, there was that little Cunha chance. And then after that, Wolves really kind of took it to us. There was a good 15 minutes where Wolves had us pinned back, and ultimately they would get their goal in the 47th. This is what you don't like about Manchester United is we turtled up here, and we invited this goal in stoppage time of the first half, and it's Wolves. They're horrible.
It's come all the way to Kiana Herber, in first time by him, and here's David Mother-Wolfer, and Bellegarde!
I mean, could you concede a shittier goal to a shittier team?
Have we seen United concede goals like this before? I certainly have. It seems like the type of goal where everyone's kind of ball watching. Second ball comes in. Nobody's where they need to be in terms of cleanup. And like you said, if United had not had the second half that they had, I'd be very mad about that first half because it wasn't good enough. We got a goal. We should have had way more, but we let them have those moments late, including the goal at the end of the first half. It just wasn't clinical enough. But United showed a different side and showed the delta between these two teams, even a struggling United side. This Wolves side is especially poor.
Look, it was a rough 1-1, socials melting down at halftime. United came out with great energy, and we caught Wolves out quickly in the 51st minute, and Mbeumo would get his goal. 51st minute.
Good touch again from Bellegarde, gives away possession.
Cunha, good pass towards Dalot, and here's Mbeumo! Clinical, absolutely clinical. And Brian Mbeumo.
Good pass from Dalot, and Beard is best, and Mbeumo gets his goal.
Goes close. I almost thought Mbeumo went wide on it. The fact that the buildup itself even had a second chance where, like, Wolves had a chance to stop us. They didn't. Kind of spoke with today. But, hey, you take the goal. It's an important go-ahead goal. And then, money Mount.
Well, before Mount scores, Wolves did kind of have some chances here. So, again, it was like we scored the goal, and the United kind of sat back again. So, like, the two themes that I would show is that when we scored the first goal, we kind of sat back. This time we scored and we sat back, and then bang, we hit him on the counter in this great Mason Mount goal in the 60th minute, sir. Let's go. Mason money.
One by Akpadu. Fernandes. Mount's coming in.
This is great.
And Mason Mount took the chance superbly.
What a ball from Bruno Fernandes. 1 goal, 1 assist. He wouldn't finish the day. He still had more to do.
And he was unbelievable all day. First half, obviously scratchy throughout, but he just showed his quality today. Unbelievable pass in, but Mason Mount makes it look easy as well. Had a couple other good chances as well. But, Mason Mount with 3 goals already, more than he's had in his previous 2 seasons combined. So that's something for Mason Mount. He thrives, talk about players getting better in this back three. He seems like a player that's made for the double 10 formation, and he's shining. You might keep Benjamin Šeško out of that front three based on the way he's playing. That's the big one.
Stay healthy. 67th minute, Cunha had a nice header. Martinez and Euro came on for Moz in Heaven in the 68th. 78th, Manu comes on for Casemiro. Everyone wanted to see that. And then the 82nd, we would get a penalty for Bruno Fernandes. Handball. Interesting handball decisions here. First half, it's not a handball. Second half, it is a handball. We'll take it. Penalty. The Portuguese Magnifico at the spot.
So it is. Bruno Fernandes. It's superbly taken. And it's 4-1.
Dominant performance from Manchester United. Dogu and Xerxes would come on for Dalot and Mount. So there would be no youngster coming in late in a big blowout game, but that is Ruben Amorim's prerogative, sir. The stat line would show it. Manchester United dominant, 25 shots to Wolves, 7, 9 on target to their 2, 64% of the ball to their 36, and we had a lot to do with it. I think we had over 4 XG. Just absolutely dominant, 3.82 to their 0.35. Tilt, 58% to Manchester United, which is huge. We were brave. We had a high line. Wolves came at us, I will say. That tactically, Wolves decided to, instead of sitting back and just sitting in a low block and frustrating us like, the likes of West Ham, they decided to come out at us at the Molineux, so almost played into our hands a little bit. Don't know why they're running those tactics, but obviously United have done well against teams like Brighton who want to play on the front foot against us because we are dangerous on the counter, and you saw all the goals coming from these great breaks from United when we had the numbers.
No, I think what you saw in the first half is that they were willing to sit back, especially late on in the first half, and that's where United really suffered, had a hard time breaking them down, got sloppy on the ball, and then the second half, we got an early goal with an Mbeumo 51st minute go-ahead goal, and then they went for it. But, even they could get behind us, like you said. It's just that they didn't lead to concrete chances, hence the XG, because I think they're lacking that quality in the final third. I think they basically called it a season and ready to just not even go big in January, thinking, hey, let's lick our wounds, head into championship, and then, rethink strategies down there. Ruben Amorim, is he going to give us box office stuff in this week's press conference? I hope not. He looks pissed. He looks like they lost 4-1.
But, we got to put the Wolves result into context. Does this change anything for you? Obviously, we have the West Ham draw, which is really poor at home. The Everton 10-man. Like, those are pretty low watermarks for Manchester United. If you look overall the last 10 games, it's a pretty good record. I think last 9 we've only lost 1.
Correct.
But it's more recent with the Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, Everton, West Ham. You obviously beat Wolves. This is currently the worst team that's ever graced the Premier League era. Lowest goals, lowest points. And it was kind of nervy there for a bit. Obviously, the scoreline 4-1, but the moments where we let them back into it, after scoring the second one, even then they were coming on to us. I just feel like we let you obviously disagree with that, but
first half, yes. First half, I definitely agree with you. Second half, we blew the gates off of them. But first half,
after the second goal, there was a 10-minute spell where the Wolves were like, it's almost like the crowd gets in it, they get energy, and like we kind of tuck in. There's something where we just do that, where there's like something in this team where it's like the manager's not saying, hey, score a goal and then don't go for it again. But like there's something about United where we let teams come onto us and their fans get into it. And it's almost like they feed off that energy. Like that first goal came from that type of wave. And then obviously that great goal on the break, we kind of break their back. But I just want to, that's something where if you look at different opponents, where is this going, right? Where is this going with the Villas of the world? Where is this going? Like, this was comically horrible team. Like, Wolves are so horrible.
Well, you asked, what does this change?
Like,
this doesn't change much. I mean, this is a win that we have to be winning. I'm glad we're playing them twice in 30 days because this is like you said, this is a comically bad Wolves team. I think even a semi-competent, look, we're in 6th in the league. Like you said, 1 loss, 9 defeats, but we also went 5 games with only 1 win, I think. So, like, it's been lacking a little bit of that edge. And also we showed at times the old United. We gave a really poor goal. We kind of sat back and we got that first goal in the first half. And then, we were not nearly as clinical as we should have been against a team that was very poor. I mean, like on the eyes, they looked poor, even to the level against teams like Forest or, Wolves or West Ham. It's like they look like a really poor side. They look like a championship side, but that being said,
exactly.
You get a win.
Like a poor championship side.
But this team, it's good and it's bad. I think this formation still lets us down. I think Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount, Ahmad are players, even though really it was Bruno and Mount who came on today. Those other 3 weren't the best, but even they had an impact. We can't keep a clean sheet. We play a back 5. We can't keep a clean sheet. The goals we concede are always similar. They're always like second chances. They're like everyone's just kind of ball watching. But it's a win, and we're up to 3 points. Excuse me, up to 6th place. You'll take it. Bournemouth is a tough one. That's the next. It's like on to the next one because it leaves a lot to be desired. But at the end of the day, 4-1, you'll take it because we haven't scored that many goals. Well, I guess we've scored like 3rd most in the league, but it doesn't feel like we scored that many goals because we always concede so many. And today, at least we won.
Yeah, this doesn't change anything for me. Like if we came out dominant for 90 minutes, put any questions past. There were questions at Wolves at this worst team ever asked questions of United today, and we answered them. We answered them with our quality and on the counterattack. But for me, those questions are scary, and because Wolves isn't asking questions of anyone. And they asked questions, not many, maybe not loud ones, but there were some questions they asked. And that is concerning because they are horrid.
Well, think about these last few games we've had. Palace showed our quality, good and bad, right? Like we came in, took chances, scored, but we also think about Nottingham Forest. Think about obviously the Everton game, which was just like, hey, we had an extra defender on, we're chasing the game, and they have 1 less man, and how frustrating that was. The previous performance, just dropping points once again. It's just like this team is good and bad. This is nothing because it's Wolves. This is like the worst.
No, your point is actually correct. Where what I'm highlighting is inconsistent.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
they played into our favor today too.
Villa, we could lose to this Wolves. Like, what I'm saying? Like we could lose to this Wolves team. We could draw this Wolves team. We could beat Villa by 3 goals. Like in 90 minutes, you feel every emotion as a United fan.
You could beat every team. You could lose to every team. Easy.
You're elated. You think we're going to win the league. You think we're going to get it's up and down all around. This team is so inconsistent. And like that's what's crazy is because people are like, we're in 6th place. We're this, we're that, we're this. And it's like I'm watching this football, and I don't know. I couldn't bet anything on it. And so I'm still in that vibe where, like, I love United being in 6th, but I would like not to be thinking about Wolves beating us at halftime here, And so this is kind of where we are as United fans, where we want to get excited about this team, but we need to build and start working towards a trend where we're having predictable results. We're beating lower opposition teams in a certain system in a certain way that's predictable, that we're controlling games. And I feel like if we're just relying on our quality and we're so up and down and emotional on the pitch and during the game, that you're just going to see more of this. And I hope this is something we can build on, or maybe it gets the attacking juices flowing. But I just have my concerns over the long term of where we're headed because, like you said, we saw it all today, even against this team. And if you were going to have a good day and have a good 90,
a clean 90,
it would be against this team.
And the thing is you nailed it, which is like this team could beat anyone in the top 3. Not even no problem, but like on their day, home or away, they could beat City. You could beat Arsenal. You could beat Villa, no problem. But you could also lose to everybody in the bottom 3. Just about. I mean, Wolves are so bad.
Lose or draw.
Lose or draw. Yeah. You go lose or draw to Leeds, Burnley, and Wolves. And I'm not sure you're going to lose to this Wolves side because they're so bad. But we could definitely lose to a Leeds or Burnley, and we've seen that because those teams have even beaten, top 6 sides. So either way, United. Far from the finished article. What do you think Ruben Amorim has to say following a 4-1 victory? He doesn't look that thrilled, like I said.
Let's check it out.
Ruben, congratulations on the win. Are you particularly pleased with how the players reacted in the second half, given how the first half ended?
Yes, I think once again, after we scored a goal, we were a little bit sloppy on the ball, and that gave a little bit hope to the opponent. But we create a lot of chances in the first half also. We should have finished that half in a different way. And then in the half time, they understood that we have everything to win the game, to win 3 points. And they did that. I think the pace, the quality that we show in the second half, understanding that the moment of Wolves is really hard as a team, as a club. So we took advantage of that.
And just on the front three, I think that's the 5th time they've started together. They've looked pretty good in all those 5 games. Are you encouraged how well they've adapted, because the system normally you'd have an out-and-out striker in it?
Yeah, I think especially with system v system, if you take some of the reference, and Cunha can help us to do that, we need to avoid the crosses, and I think we have more space to corner runs, all this type of play, and the quality that they have when they have a little bit space. I think they did really well, and they understood the type of game that they should play with the characteristics that they have.
When you get a win that size, I know we've had this conversation many times before, is it more important now that you show that tonight is not a one-off, that you can put these runs of good performances together?
First of all, I think we are in the league that is really hard to win every week, and you can sense that by watching the table. Then this is a specific case. We face a team that is really, really struggling, and you can sense in every situation of the game. So the next game is going to be completely different. So we need to know that. But in our club, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the run that you have, the moment if you played quite well the last game. What matters is the way we are going to play the next one. So.
Yep, that's true. On to the next one, sir. On to Bournemouth. It's all about that. And he did hit it. Don't get carried away, because Bournemouth's not as bad as Wolves, I think, is ultimately the key takeaway for the manager.
I think when you look back, and we watched a decent clip of this interview, we watched a little bit more than we usually watch, is like he's pissed because he's seen what you and I are seeing. He's like, we rolled past this team, but that was like a closed match session. That was like playing a U21 side. I mean, that was like, I had not seen us play a team that poor in the league.
I've never seen a team play that badly.
Since like Wigan, since like 2007, bro. Like that team, they were mispassing every pass. They look terrible, and he knows it. He's like, we should have killed the game off. We kind of made a meal of it. Yeah, we got 4 goals. But like, you could tell he's not a dumb guy. He's not shining this up too much. He's like, they are in a tough moment. Like he almost felt bad for Wolves.
Give us the last word on the Wolves.
Sir, the good. We won 3 points, up to 6 plates, and the result is all that matters. We conceded a poor goal and took care of business second half and made it look routine. And, I got to call out the individual contributors who looked class today. And that was Bruno, had a great game, 2 goals and an assist. Could have had a couple others. made everything tick. Mount with a great game once again. And Mbeumo, good, not as good. Both Ahmad and Cunha looked off, but their quality, I think, is going to come eventually. And we're going to need it, especially we're going to need it during AFCON. But those are my positives.
All right, let's get into the bad. There's nowhere to hide. This is the worst team in Premier League history through 15 games, and we made it look hard. United fans, that equalizer at halftime, we came out, we did get the goal, but short of just like comedic level defending and a handball, it could be 1-1 easily, because there was two goals that were just a joke, including the first one from Bruno, where you're just not seeing that at this level. And you argued, like you said, we could have beat them 10 if we were playing well. I think we're seeing a team that's struggling for form. And, while the scoreline might be good for some social media posts and some good vibes, this doesn't change anything for me, because this team needs to be consistent and improve over time. And I think there's some serious issues that remain at Manchester United. The goal, not great. We've seen United, like you're going to concede. Wolves aren't scoring, by the way.
They hadn't scored a goal all November, by the way. That was their first goal since October.
Scored against our defense. Now we have injuries. I'm going to caveat that. So,
it's true.
For me, the bad is just the one. If it was 2-0 at half and it was 3-1 then 4-1, fine. I don't have anything. But the 1-1 at half, where they were in it against us, like they're not in it against a lot of bad teams, and they, like I said, they ask questions of United, and that kind of scares me, only because I know where we can go and how inconsistent we are. So I'm cautiously optimistic. It's all about getting a result against Bournemouth, having a good 90 minutes.
There you go. On the next game, like you said, Bournemouth will be a different world, and it will, and it's somehow, guys and girls, it's another Monday night game. What is going on? They know Manchester United show, we're Showtime Reds, but still, like, these Monday games are ridiculous.
Working us overtime for
Cherries.
Monday Night Football. We invented that in America, not like the UK. Come on, it should be Sunday night. Regardless, it is Monday, December 15th, noon Pacific. Manchester United versus Cherries. And obviously United coming in to this match in 6th place. 15 played, plus 4 goal differential. What are we complaining about? That's great. 2 wins in the last 5. 2 draws. Bournemouth find themselves in 13th.
Not the same Bournemouth last year.
No
Flying.
wins in 5. 3 losses.
Danger.
2 draws. Hungry
Trap game.
for a dub. It is going to be
Trap game.
tough. We also are coming home, where we've drawn West Ham, where we've lost to a 10-man Everton. Can we avenge that horrible form at Old Trafford under the lights? Monday Night Football, you can watch it on the USA Network or Universo if you want it in Espanol. Sir, let's get into the weather for the match. This has been cold, and it's going to be a cold and rainy night.
Same as last time. Same as tonight, basically, against Wolves, which is low 50s and rainy, and we're playing AFC Boscone, as they used to be called. No, Bournemouth, founded 1899 as Boscombe and long based at the compact Dean Court, now known as Vitality Stadium, on the South Coast, sir. They have been up and coming. They've been playing well last season, finishing Europe. Now, not so much. And I didn't even remember this, Eddie Howe, sir, back in the day, once they entered administration for a second time, were relegated back in League Two in 2008. They ended the year by appointing Eddie Howe as manager, and under Howe, he got them promoted 3 times in 6 years, and they won a place in the first tier in English football for the first time in their history. They came back up more recently, and they've got a young Basque coach. These Basque coaches, sir, they're over-indexing. It's not a very big region. They make a shit ton of football coaches, and this one, Andoni Iraola, he's a good one.
Yeah, and a manager that United have been linked to.
Indeed.
The 43-year-old Basque manager, former Athletic Bilbao right back. He arrived in 2023, and he's done great. I mean, obviously, Eddie Howe kind of took him to the promised land. He was dismissed when they got relegated. They came back up, and he's done a great job. The brand of football they play, we did beat them in preseason, Semenyo is a star player for them. That's doing great in the league. He's being linked to United and other top clubs. So hopefully we're in on that.
And he's a top manager, like you said. Let's talk about tactics for this game against the Cherries at home. And what are they about under Iraola? It's all about intensity, pressing, and vertical football rather than slow control. That's sometimes when United looks vulnerable. So the usual shape is a 4-2-3-1 that can morph into a narrow 4-3-3. Fullbacks like to push high, and the wide players tuck inside to form a box around the box. Out of possession, they press in organized waves. They try to suffocate the build up of the high line and constant pressure on the first pass, and swarm loose balls. And then in possession, they look to play forward early through the lines using quick combos, third man runs. So they're very direct when they get on the ball. They like to press, turn teams over. That's how we used to play, at least starting the season. That seemed to be something that Amorim liked to do. So I think we're going to go long ball city, as you'd imagine, because we're so vulnerable trying to play at the back. So United would be all about, managing the chaos, smart decisions under pressure. If we can play that second ball and get kind of behind them, use our pace, but they're going to be a tough side. And we might look to sit back as well with this team because they have a lot of quality on the ball. So Bournemouth are tough. I know they've been in a tough moment. Like you said, no wins in 5, but they've had our number, sir, getting into recent record. They're a dangerous side, and they have a great player in Semenyo.
One thing to look at for Manchester United in the Wolves match, I felt like both West Ham and Wolves, when Wolves started winning those second balls, that's when they were dangerous. That's what led to their goal. I feel like when teams kind of smell blood in the water, they're all pushing, they're all pressing. And when United, we really feel suffocated in periods of play, and United need to be able to play smart and release the pressure because Bournemouth is going to be much more effective than Wolves. But those second balls, those effort plays, United kind of get deer in the headlights a little bit.
It's a great point.
And invite the pressure. So it's almost like with United, it's like these certain moments in the game that we have to be wise to and use our class, like the Casemiros, the Brunos of the world, to figure that out and release the pressure or know when not to go for that high risk pass and turn it over back into that sort of washing machine in the midfield. Like you said, recent play, lifetime 14 games, won, drawn 5, lost 5. Recent form against Bournemouth, not great. Drawn 2, lost 2, 1-1. Last win versus the Cherries, May 2023.
Been a minute. Dangerous team. But hey, they are hungry for a goal. And it's time to get a goal. Let's talk about their signings. They spend money. They've been a very astute team in terms of bringing players in. Diakate, the youngish center back out of Leal was their number 1 signing. Petrovic from Chelsea is a known quantity. They went big on a right winger from the Scouse Bastards and Gainan Doak.
Replacement, right?
Exactly. So they have recruited very, very well. These are probably players to watch in a season or two. But the player to watch, Antonio Semenyo. How do you say it? Semenyo. I always bottle names.
On my fantasy team, man. Come
on everybody's fantasy team. He's going through a bit of a cold streak because they've been poor recently. Got a goal disallowed on the weekend. 25-year-old, Ghana international, one of the best attackers. 6 goals, 3 assists this season in the EPL on a struggling side. That tells you something about his quality. Available apparently in January for around £65 million. Great player.
Sign him.
Great player. I think he's going to go to Scouse Bastards and they punt solid in the Middle East.
We will talk about that. Recent form, Villa stomped them 4-0. Drew West Ham. Sunderland beat them, but they had a red card. Everton beat them 1-0. They drew Chelsea. Interesting result there. Obviously, Chelsea near us at the top of the table, and then it's on to Manchester United.
And they almost had Chelsea there. They hit the post once or twice. It was a tight game. Let's get into that. 11-4-1-4-1 is how they lined up against Chelsea. Those 2 blocks of 4. They got
Tavernier, Kluivert, Evan Nielsen, Semenyo. They have some dangerous players. This is going to be you want to talk about Wolves? Here's the thing about this United. You don't know. Like, box of chocolates, don't know what you're going to get. You could get I think you're not getting a full 90. I think you're not getting
do we do full 90s?
Lean back.
No.
Lean back.
Yeah,
have a good
easy.
game.
Like a 3-0. Clean sheet is rolling.
I think the only thing you're not getting is that. And you're going to get a roller coaster ride. But I feel like we're pros. Strap us in. Buckle up. Vomit bag in hand. Let's go. Bournemouth first, man.
No, that physicality argument that you made earlier is a good one because that is what killed us in Everton. They were dominating us that second ball, winning the possession back, even with less men, and that's huge. The physicality part of how we play is important. If we don't show up physically, it all kind of falls apart because we never get possession. Can't take advantage.
That's the antithesis of Manchester United.
I'm not arguing for the formation.
No, I know.
I'm arguing for just like it has been effective.
No, that's
I'm okay
effort.
with effective football.
No, that's not. That's not system. That is.
Well, it's like punt and pray.
Cojones, bro. That's like what you got.
That's how you beat the Scousers.
You know, it's
just
like how
winning
much
those
dog
balls.
you got, and like this team
is lacking dog.
Like Luke Shaw, Cat. Like Mazraoui, dog. Yeah, we go through the list, sir. We need more dogs. That's all I gotta say.
We're losing a bunch of dogs. We're losing like a bunch of dogs to AFCON in like a week. This is the last
Wolves.
one.
11 versus Wolves. We had Lemens in net, Shaw, Heaven, Mazraoui, Dalot, Bruno, Cass, Diallo, Cunha, Mbeumo, Mount. What do you think?
I think you're running back. I think Heaven, maybe you push him out wide if Maguire or Dalot are back, but didn't sound like
Dalot
both are
was
close.
not back. Seshko, Dalot is not coming back. He did not comment on timing. Sheshko is back in light training individual, so most likely he will not be on the bench.
Also, last game for Mbeumo, Ahmad, and Maz before they get sent out to AFCON, which is the Bournemouth game on the 15th. So I think you run this back and try and get a win because, we look good.
That's where we're
in
out
the
of
second
ideas.
half. We're out well, that's your 11. It won last time. You give it another go. Oddsmakers. They are favored in United. Minus 120 at home for United, plus 280 for the draw, plus 280 for Bournemouth.
Much tighter than the Wolves odds. As far as the fans. Cage, you're here for the community prediction. It is a Manchester United win overall, 57%. 36% say draw. It's a lot of fans coming in on the draw between Bournemouth and Manchester United. Sir, what do you have for the prediction here? Bournemouth versus Manchester United. What do you got?
I'm going draw. I'm going 2-2 United. 2 United, 2 Bournemouth. I think frustrating once again. And, we don't lose, but we don't win. What do you think, sir?
I'm going to go Bournemouth 2-1. I'm going to say we score, but I think...
Could also be this.
I'm going to say we're going to get the L, unfortunately.
Big old L.
Because of the consistency. We got to go consistency. And, Bournemouth are hungry. And we haven't been playing well at home, unfortunately, for Manchester United fans. All right, let's get into United in the news. Opta stats, predicted league table looking interesting coming into the Wolves game. Manchester United predicted to finish in 10th. Currently, we are in 8th place with 0.17% chance of winning the title.
You're saying there's a chance.
With 11% chance of making Champions League football. So, you know what? There we got that, sir. 11%. Fans looking at the table right now saying, hey, we're in 6th place. We're right on the cusp. Obviously, this is just an AI super intelligence telling us we're not that good, but we're fans, and we think we're going to win it all. So what do you make of this 8th place? I believe that's what I predicted coming into the season. It does seem like super intelligence is getting it right. 8th is right where we're at.
I mean, we're at 6th, but, it's a wash right now between basically 4th and like 12th. Everybody's within a couple of points. I'm glad we got I think this feels about right. I think we finished somewhere between 6th and 8th. I think I called 7th. I think you called 8th. Maybe a frisky cup, even that feels out of reach these days because, like you said, we're so inconsistent. And we were a really good cup team under Ten Hag. I don't think we're a really good cup team under this manager because he's too goddamn stubborn. But I don't know. Between 6 and 8 feels about right, but that could change if we go on a run and take advantage of these fixtures, some of which have gotten more challenging in Villa and Newcastle. They do think Liverpool is going to storm up the table ahead of us, which is possible. But what are your thoughts, sir? I think this looks like something. Will Villa carry on? Will Arsenal hold the lead? I think the odds are a little probably disproportionate for 71% for Arsenal and only 19% for City. I think City's got a very good chance.
The betting markets is like I think the betting markets is like 60% for Arsenal to win the title.
Yeah.
City's like 30.
Feels better.
But, I would say, given this has lots of different factors in it, for me, eighth is right. Eighth is right. The issue that I have is ultimately the way that we're going to get eighth. So eighth, while being a improvement on paper, on the eye, you like to see in a manager's progression, you're like, okay, we had the worst 15th is horrific. That was like stop the bleeding, just make it stop, End last season, and then you tell me, hey, next year you're going to finish eighth, I would feel actually good about that. But what doesn't make me feel good is watching the football that's getting us eighth place, because it's not good. And it's not what this manager came here to do. And that question has to be answered by either the manager or director of football or the ownership, because at the end of the day, we can look at the table and point at that all day long, but the eye test doesn't fail you. And when you're a year into a manager, that's when you should start to see the beginning of the eye test kind of improving. And I think that's almost the quality of your play. If we could see United, I would like to tell the stats they're wrong and be like, hey, with my eyes, we're playing better football and we're going to finish top 4. But right now, I think I'd be happy with eighth based on how we're playing football. And you look at West Ham, you look at Everton with 10 men, and you look at Wolves going into halftime. I think that we're going to be lucky to finish eighth.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be lucky to finish it. I think eighth feels about right. It feels like a team that, like you said, we could beat Villa at Villa Park for a team that's like flying, but we could just as likely go and suffer at Leeds and drop points or lose, or worse. Same with Burnley. It's like you don't know this team, especially because this team seems to play better when you have a team that the other team has more of the possession, and they're coming at United and we're countering them. And that's really not the United way, but I don't really care much about the effectiveness. I care when we have to break down a team and we have a manager that insists on sticking with formation and playing an extra defender just because that's the way he set out to play, even if it doesn't make the most sense, and will help him get the best result on that given day. So that's my frustration. That's why I think we'll probably meddle along somewhere between 6th and 8th, because if this guy was a little bit more flexible and we'll play counter when it's a team with an extra defender, which is a team that's going to come at us like an Arsenal, like a City, like a Villa, like a Chelsea. And then if we're playing, if we're playing Leeds, if we're playing Burnley, if we're playing Forest, we're going to take one of those, we're take one of them off. They're not working. I think we'd actually do better. We might have a real chance at Champions League. Europa League feels about right. I feel like we're a Europa League side, and even that might be saying something.
Well, eighth is not.
It gets you Conference League.
Europa League.
But you're in Europe. You're Europa light, but it's all in the margin error at this point, 6th to 8th. But I think this is a very inconsistent side that doesn't take advantage of the tools it has available while playing a formation, no matter who we're playing on the other side of the pitch.
That's a very, very good point, sir. I think the nervy bet would be.
What do you got? Vegas. We just came back from Vegas, so we got that Vegas run still in us. I was looking at the odds for United. I was like, I would be betting Bournemouth. I'd be betting Bournemouth win draw.
Bet your house United finish above 8th or below 8th.
Bet my house?
No, I would say if you had to pick in the most serious way, do United finish above 8th or 8th and below? What is it this year?
In a serious way,
in a serious way, and you had to put $100,000 down or something, some insane amount of money, and it's today, and it's you got to make it, and you'd be like, do we finish above 8th or 8th and below?
That's fucking bad. That's tough. Are you you'd? That's real money,
just
bro.
Say it. Just it. Just say what is it? You got to make a call.
It could easily be 8th though, so I'd probably say 8th. Probably 8th and below.
Yeah. Yeah. My point
if it wasn't that amount of money,
for free, you'd be like, yeah, we're going to win it. We're going to make
free,
this. But you have to bet a meaningful, bet your house on it. It's I'm going to go 8th and below.
The league is so competitive. This league is so good. It's
we're not playing good football.
And we're not consistent.
It's not about the league.
We're not consistent.
It's about we're not consistent, and we're not seeing good football played by United. We've seen good results. Crystal Palace is a good result. Is that a good football? Is that something you're going to improve on and consistently demonstrate across the remaining fixtures, the remaining 23 matches throughout the year? No. And that's my concern. And so, for me.
So you're betting the house on 8 or below.
8 or below right now.
There you go.
And if we were playing expansive football and we were seeing like, much better performances, I would go above. But like, by the way, we should finish above. If you take
We have the squad.
these players,
Better
and this
squad than
team
Palace.
is better than that. I'm just not seeing that. And that's the disheartening thing for Manchester United fans, where you're like, look at Bruno Fernandes. He's amazing. By the way, he's scoring all those goals against Wolves because he has the freedom to get up the pitch.
Right.
Why are we playing him in the 2? Great question, but that's above my pay grade, sir. Let's get into the FA Cup. Amazing competition, and it is the only cup competition that we are left in. It is the FA Cup for 25-26, sir. Do you want to tell us about the FA Cup?
Third round draw just happened. Let's talk about FA Cup. First played in 1871 and 72. Oldest national football competition in the world. Obviously, it's organized by the FA, and the draw happened today. United got their third round, what's it called? Allotment, or who's the team you get joined with? They got their draw. We got the draw this today for the third round, and we're playing Brighton and Hove Albion. We can get into the teams that are also participating. Unbelievable. The teams that always get the best draws got the best draws.
Okay,
City got like a
this
League
is how
One
the FA
side.
Cup works. Okay, this is how the FA Cup works. Okay, we're in the third round. We just had the draw. This is when the 20 Premier League teams come into the cup in the third round, right? So there's been 3 rounds. There's been 3 rounds in the FA Cup. 20 EPL teams come in January. That's why they run the EFL Cup before in the first half of the year, and the FA Cup is the oldest football trophy. Founded by the FA, who invented the beautiful game that we know, and that's why this is cherished by Manchester United, famously won by Erik ten Hag, hugging Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho, saying, "You are the future of Manchester United. I will bring you to the promised land," which Amorim has shipped one and is currently trying to ship the second one out of Manchester United. Regardless, it's a great competition. They got rid of the replays that got everybody in a tizzy. And the draw for the third round was today. Manchester United did not get a great draw because we were drawn by Brighton. There's only a few EPL on EPL matches here, and we got Brighton. You could see City getting a very
League
easy
One, bro.
Exeter.
They always get the easiest draws.
West Ham gets QPR, Queen's Park Raisins. Tottenham does get Villa, so that's probably the only worst draw that I could see on the board. And Manchester United, Brighton, and Hove Albion. So again, the only real trophy that I can say we can realistically win, is the FA Cup, and we have a meal of a fixture in the third round. And obviously, when you're looking at this competition, you got the 4th, 5th, quarters, semis, and finals. And in the third round, we're playing Brighton. We did beat them 4-2 earlier in their year. But again, it just comes to this. What does this competition mean for United? This is hope for Manchester United. This season needs hope. This manager needs hope. This team needs hope. We have to beat Brighton. If we get stomped out of the FA Cup in the third round after losing to Grimsby and getting knocked out of the EFL Cup, it's just going to mount more pressure on this manager, on this squad, and it makes me nervous. This draw was a rough one for Manchester United.
No, we got done dirty. Especially you look around the league, the other teams, the teams that consistently get really easy draws, like City and Arsenal, especially City. It's almost like they're paying people off, sir. This is a tough one because, like you said, it signifies something that we can actually play for and go and win. 5-6 games you can go on and you can win in May. It's a great cup competition to win. We've won it recently. It was fun. It put a mark on a terrible season. And you know what? We're not going to win the league. Champions League, if we were to be successful enough to finish in the top 5, would feel like a trophy, but you can't beat a trophy. You can't beat playing at Wembley, and we got a really, really tough run. So you know what? If you want to win it, times in the past when we have won it, we've had to go through tough sides. I think about that Liverpool game. We also had a shit side in the semifinals.
It's a great final. It's a great day.
They don't like our
fans.
odds, sir. They don't like because they got the draw and the odds moved.
Yeah, exactly. So United to win the FA Cup is 17 times your money if you bet it. Villa is 19 times because obviously they're playing Tottenham. So, that's a difficult fixture there. City playing
odds.
Exeter have the best odds. Liverpool and Arsenal, Chelsea up there. So, the draw does matter. If United do beat Brighton, our odds would improve greatly. And most likely we're not getting another EPL team in the next round. So they keep drawing until the quarterfinals. And then it's a proper bracket from there. But the FA Cup is something to get excited about for Manchester United. And, obviously we'll be playing that fixture January 10th. So in about a month, FA Cup's going to kick off. And you know what? This fixture is sandwiched in between some big ones. So when you talk about Manchester United showing up, they have to show up against Brighton. Right after that, play Man City, then Arsenal, then Fulham. That's really when Tottenham. So we have a tough run of games starting January.
And John and I are going. John and I are going across the pond for our annual trip on the 17th for the Derby, 4:30 a.m. Hey, at least we don't have to wake up early Pacific time, and we're going to know a lot about this team by then. We're going to know a lot about this team once we get through the fixtures, but that Brighton game is a tough one. 3 days rest, kind of a Burnley at Turf Mordor. And playing them home, and we got the win, but they're a very good side, and I think we got some good chances that went our way. But it's going to be a much tighter game this time.
This is unfortunate. This is very unfortunate. This is very hard. But this team, you lose to Grimsby, now everyone cares about the FA Cup.
That's
right.
You
know what I'm saying? So
That's
it's
right.
Like if you got bounced, you had 2 or 3 games EFL, you get bounced by like a proper team. No one's gonna sniff at this or care. But the fact you went out to burn Grimsby, this is a must win. This is must win. Think about for Sir Jim. You win games, cups, you get more games at home. You get more gate. You get more money. And ultimately, it's the 3rd round. We have to progress. And then you're going to have a Burnley game, tight turnaround. Oof. It's going to be a tough one for United. So it's a bummer that we got this bad of a draw. Let's get into the World Cup. Obviously, World Cup draw this past week. It was Friday.
What a spectacle.
In Washington, D.C. Rio Ferdinand was kind of the MC. Did all right.
Rizzless. He's got no Riz.
I like Rio Ferdinand.
He's so dry.
He's a little dry.
He's no Beckham.
I couldn't do a better job of that, but
it's close.
For all the pageantry they did, when they got to the draw, they actually just did the draw, which
that was good.
Nice.
I missed the whole beginning part. Apparently, the beginning dragged on for 2 hours before any draws actually happened.
So if you know the pod and have listened to it, we do a U.S. men's national team takeover, so we will be doing that next summer for the World Cup. Obviously, the U.S. has qualified, so covering the United States friendlies isn't a priority for the podcast. But once we do the World Cup, we'll be covering it. We will be going to USA versus their last game in the group stage. So we'll be traveling, going to World Cup games. We will still do the podcast. Pod never sleeps. The USA draw was huge. They got Paraguay, Australia, and then the winner of a multi-team playoff, which most likely will be Turkey. I'm going to say the Vegas odds have Turkey qualifying out of this 4-team bracket. That will be played in March, semifinal, final. But USA, let's just assume it's USA, Paraguay, Australia, and say Turkey. What are your thoughts on the group? Are you excited for the World Cup, sir?
I'm very excited for the World Cup, of course. We're hosting it. We're doing a joint host with Canada and Mexico. Always look forward to the World Cup, especially if I don't have to travel on the other side of the earth and do it in November.
Yeah, last one we did was Qatar. Yeah, we traveled to Qatar.
Yeah, and this is not going to be traveling to Qatar, so we're going to 2 games, at least 2 games, going to see the U.S. play, like you said, the winner of that playoff group stage, most likely Turkey, in LA. That'll be a ride. Staying in California, so easy flight for us, coming from the Bay, and then go to Miami. And we got lucky as hell because we got an unbelievable draw there. Let's talk about the U.S. group for a second. Speaking of lucky, I think we got a great group, especially when you think about the pot 2 teams that were very, very dangerous. I think we got one of the easier teams. There's parity. We don't have any terrible team, but we could have gotten a Croatia, a Senegal, and we got Australia. So I think the Socceroos, all things considered, are pretty fortuitous for United States, and then Paraguay as well. They're a fighting team, but they're not a great squad either. Turkey's probably the most challenging team if they were to make it, especially in that third round, that third group stage game. Obviously, they dumbed down the World Cup, like they dumbed down the Champions League. They added more games. They added more possibilities for teams to advance from the group stage so they don't have to finish in the top 2. And then there is that playoff round. So I think it's going to definitely take some of the action out like it did in, let's be honest, Champions League just doesn't have the same oomph it used to. But this group is very good. Turkey game will still have some meaningful, waiting for sure because we're not going to blow up Paraguay and Australia knowing us. And I'm looking forward to it because I think we got a great group. England got a tough one. I know we got a lot of English fans, but they got, I think, one of the tougher groups. I believe they got Ghana. We've played them before. We know how tough they can be. And then they got one top side. Who is it? They got one top side from Croatia. So they got Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Panama has caused the United States trouble in the past. So either way, the World Cup's going to be terrific. Tickets are tickets are problematic and expensive, but if you are fortunate enough to get to a game, enjoy it. I think it's one of the great events. I think it brings people together, and I'm not trying to sound like corny, but it actually does. You meet people. We met wonderful fans from Ghana, from Iran, and I hope we get a chance to meet wonderful people from either Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, or Kosovo, sir, because it's a truly global event, and it brings people together in a way that I think few events do.
No, absolutely. And the thing about U.S. in this group, you think this is an easy group. I will have you know we drew Wales, and we barely beat Iran in the Qatar. I mean, we went to the USA-Iran game in Qatar. So I didn't think Wales was a team that United States would even consider drawing before we played them, and we drew them. Australia, they're frisky. They're obviously not that great right now. Paraguay, we stomped in a friendly. But this USA team is broadly untested, and I do feel like, it's all how you start. So coming out of the gate, we just need a good result, and it's all about momentum and feels in a World Cup, and there's no time to get it. You either get it or you don't. And I feel like when we were in Qatar, we never really got the feels. We did get some juice beating Iran, but kind of struggled against an inferior side, and ultimately, the U.S. is going to need to beat Paraguay from the jump. You don't do that, then you're looking at an Australia game where you're need a result, and then Turkey is no joke if they actually get into the group and qualify. So I'm just always nervous when the U.S. plays.
That's because the U.S. team.
International football is just so many unknowns, and it's so punishing. You get 3 games. Obviously, now you said the top 2 qualify, third then gets graded against the other groups and can go into the round of 32. So it's going to be interesting, in the USA will get through, but we should win our group. But we should have won our group, in Qatar, or could have won our group in Qatar, but we didn't. And you just don't have a lot of chances when it comes to international tournaments. But I'm absolutely juiced for the World Cup. Somehow we were able to get in the lottery.
God.
And we got tickets to these games. We know that the ticket situation is absolutely a shit show and horrible. FIFA made a meal of it. I mean, the ticket prices are absolutely insane right now. Hopefully they calm down, or people come to their senses sort of as games get closer and people start, selling and listing more and the markets become more liquid. But I think the reason why the prices are so high now is because there's still ticket draws left. They haven't got rid of them all, and people don't know where their seats are. So even if you get tickets now, you don't know where your seats are, and that actually you're going to be in the first row, or you're going to be in the 30th, or in nosebleeds, because the categories are so vague, and we've dealt with that in Qatar and Brazil. We are long experienced in the game of FIFA, and tickets, they've never been this expensive, but
they've always been a racket.
We've always been able to find a way to get them, even in the last-minute draw. So the last-minute draw is coming up. If you're still looking for tickets, make sure to go on FIFA's website. Essentially, you can log in, submit requests for tickets, and then you find out in February if you get them. So definitely still apply if you're looking for it. But the fact that now people know, we bought the games before we knew who the teams were. So when you alluded to the fact that we got tickets for this Miami game and then it turns out to be Colombia, Portugal, we just got lucky. Easily could have been Uzbekistan versus nobody. So I think there's a little bit of change in the game with tickets now that people know who's playing and where.
And they also, for the first time ever, they used to just do it random, and then when they did the draw, they picked the balls out. That would also dictate where everybody was playing because it was kind of predetermined. They sat in a room apparently all night and did the choicest setups which makes sense because you want to have, if you could choose between having a Colombia game in Miami or Atlanta, the hosts are going to lead towards Colombia because it would, boost demand, boost popularity, and probably ticket prices, which they get a piece of. But one good thing for U.S. is Paraguay's a team we know. You're not starting with the Socceroos, you're starting with a team that used to play with CONCACAF. So can't wait. What do the odds makers have for the United States? Are we heavy favorites, or are we Leicester City type favorites? Just refresh it.
No available bets for the World Cup.
Refresh.
To win the World Cup, USA plus 8,000. So
feels about right.
Getting, is it 80 times your money? 80 times your money for the U.S. to win the World Cup? Is that worth a hundo? Put that down. $50. We are playing in the US. I would like to think we could go deep, find some vibes, like start
80 times your money, bro. It's worth $100
It's
bucks.
worth a punt.
I'll put
It's
$100
worth
bucks
a
into
punt.
that.
It's worth a
I'd
punt.
rather bet that than my house.
Here's a funny FIFA ticketing story. I got tickets for the Bay Area, Levi Stadium.
Yeah, what's the game, by the way?
It's I actually don't know. It's like a team versus like one of those
Playoffs.
playoff.
Yeah.
It's Paraguay versus the playoff in our group, and then I want to bring my kids, like who are young, and it's like kickoffs 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
See you later. I told my wife, like, hey, you want to go with the kids at 9 p.m.? I got 4 tickets.
It's San Jose.
In like Levi Stadium, it's like 9 p.m. kick. It's like I don't think that's gonna fly. Like kids are in bed at 7.
That's
so
funny.
it's like
I didn't know. It was
but there's gonna be a lot, like, because we got the tickets, you don't even know where they are, so it's just absolutely a racket. Also, unfortunately, here's the real rub.
This is the
FIFA
worst.
hydration break. So there's gonna be a break in the first half and the second half for hydration. The one thing I will say, when you watched the Club World Cup this summer, it was so hot. I saw it. I couldn't believe how sweltering it was in the stadiums they were playing. It was insanely hot.
It's going to be Dallas in the middle of summer.
No, it was like
Miami.
And they were playing, it was almost a test tournament, and it was so hot when they were playing. And so you obviously need the hydration break, but then FIFA's going to put commercials in. It's obviously a power grab, but like this is already happening. The hydration breaks were already a thing. They happened in the Club World Cup, for the record.
But
they happened in Qatar.
This is every game. This is not just. This is if they're playing in Canada and it's 60 degrees out, Fahrenheit, which is not very warm. Like high teens Celsius, they will still do.
But they did
a
this in
commercial
Qatar,
timeout.
though. They did it. But this is like a
Because
thing.
it was hot as shit in Qatar, but this is bad because this is going to come to the EPL and it's going to 3 minutes timeout. It breaks up the play. It lets people basically have like the coaches have influence with the squad because they can get in their ear in the middle of a half. And the real thing is they're also using the U.S. as kind of like the cover to do it. When this is a FIFA move, but some of the U.S. is getting blamed because we're the hosts or the major hosts.
I don't mind this. I don't.
It's coming to the EPL. That's my problem.
By the way, as a fan, like it doesn't. The 3 minutes bothers me. It should not be 3 minutes.
It should not be.
It should be like 2 minutes. But like the idea
seconds.
that there's a break that everyone gets together and like has a drink and the coach can say, "Hey, do this and that." Like it's not that. I understand in like the purest mind, but it's not that crazy. I just don't find it like it's been going on. This has been going on. Also, like people who do the break
Change
fast,
of the game. It's a change of the game. They don't have
But
subs.
there's
They don't have
a lot,
timeouts in European football.
No, but the
Champions
coach
League
doesn't
final.
control the break. It's like the ref.
I know, but
This has been introduced. I'm not
It's
as
the slow creep of everything, which is just like more money. Break it up, make it worse, make it shittier.
The Club World Cup, dude. It was so hot they had to have these.
But they also played early. I think they're going to play the games a little later, aren't they? It's going to be hot.
It's going to be a little later. But
it's going to be very hot. But who asked for the Club World Cup? Nobody.
Yeah, but if you think about it, the time's added back on, so it doesn't like.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that like they're going to do this and everything, and it's going to have all of a sudden we're going to have quarters, just like American sports, which I guess is fine, but it's just like that is going to be a change that not necessarily benefit the fans.
Here's a hot take. Here's a hot take.
Talk to me.
I think you should get rid of stoppage time, and they should stop the clock. I think stoppage time is the biggest.
It is because it's so it's so all over the place.
By
It's
the
so
way,
especially in the EPL.
As an American coming over to the game, like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, like you're like, what do? They just add it on. Well, who's like? And by the way, you can literally time the stoppage time, and the stoppage time will never be that.
No, it's not.
And by the way, when the ref blows the whistle, it's just like fucking made up, and it's like. Insane how like United benefited from this greatly. So like maybe I shouldn't complain about it, but then they're always doing it. And then they said, "Oh, actually, now we're going to be hardo about stoppage time." And they started adding like 11 minutes, 10
but they're
minutes.
all over the
They
place.
don't do that anymore.
No.
Why?
Well, some games. If Arsenal need a goal, if Arsenal need a goal, they do.
It is such a. It's like you should just literally like. By the way, the whole thing stops if you just stop the clock. Because then no one wastes time.
That makes more sense.
Because hey, the clock stopped. What you're doing doesn't do anything.
That'll never happen.
It literally
I know,
I know it's crazy.
You could just have it
but
on
it's
the.
literally
no, what
like
you do
some
is,
guy could just stop it. Be like, someone dives.
You do the inverse
stop
of that. You basically you have a running clock that starts in the little corner every time there's stoppage, and it keeps
Yeah, but
running.
you
So
don't
you
even
actually
need-
know what you're going to
here's the
get.
thing,
So it's not
you
blind.
don't even need to do that because you can just stop the clock.
I know,
And
but,
it
that's
ends at
like
90.
that's too much of a material change for the fans. Whereas
No, I
you can just
understand,
like
but
you can
like the concept
have it
of
visible.
adding time is the same as stopping the clock. But the thing about stopping the clock, it's exact.
It's not happening. What are the fans? It's not happening.
Don't you remember it was like, hey, we're going to take this series like 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
Whenever
at
there was
stoppage time. And then everyone hated that.
Then
they're
they
like,
five
all right,
game
get rid
weeks
of that.
in, they
Like,
changed that. There's no consistency in this league. Let's be honest. Come on.
all right. Handball, they got to figure out. At D_Cole18, not to be a downer. Let's not sugarcoat this dub. We were still poor for large portions of this match, and we just went up against a worse in the league Bad Wolves side and figured them out. 3 points, 1 point off fourth. Manu and Heaven minutes back on track, and we move. Hope Seshko is back soon. He is training lightly with himself, but again, people kind of cautiously optimistic here. We got sharp fans who listen to this podcast. At Stretford Talk should be about how a win shouldn't mask how poor we were. How poor were we today?
We were very poor in that first half. Second half, we were much better, but the team we were playing was very poor. They gave us chances. Even their coach said it. Like 3 of the goals we gifted to them. We got hard done. We got a penalty in the first half as well. That was a handball just as much as the second half was a handball. But at the same time, this is the worst team in the league. But we know this team is. Like I said, I'm like...
It's not just the worst team in the league. It's the worst team in the history of the Premier
they're
League.
very bad, sir. We've talked about that already on this pod. But like fans know like that we weren't great, but in second half we were much better. But it was all relative because it was like a tune-up. I'm telling you, it was like playing the under 21s. Not even ours. Our under 21s are good. It was like playing Wolves as under 21s.
At Randy Scrandy L, I'm just irritated we conceded to Wolves. The result should never have been in doubt. But as always, we make things hard for ourselves. Lucky we flexed our muscles in the second half, but Wolves are everybody's freebie this year. Hard to judge. At least we aren't them. Skull emoji.
At least we aren't them dead in the water, just like headed to hell.
It's sad. That's sad. That's sad. It's
No, the Amorim, you could tell he felt bad. He felt genuinely bad for Wolves because he's like, my team wasn't that good, and they picked you apart.
Who should feel worse? United beating Wolves in the way we did, or Wolves?
Wolves? Are you kidding me? We're in 6th.
But
they
we
have 2 fucking
players
points
on like 300
We'll be
grand
fine.
a week. Like that. That's the difference.
They've got an expensive suit. They are better than 2 points. They're better than 2 points. You'd rather be 6th than on 2 points a third of the way through the season. More than, no.
That is fair. That is fair. And Mayba.
You want to play
13.
championship football, bro? You want to play Millwall?
That first half was shocking, but did much better than the second. A healthy Mount is so important to this team. If Lacey's going to have a role during AFCON, he needs to get minutes. This was the perfect opportunity to come on, but Ruben loves his defensive subs. Like, that didn't make it. You're up by 4. You put on the youngster. He puts on Dogu. It's a great call out from Nick here. Something that there's no better way to get first team action than that. And the manager does not go for it.
I don't think he rates youngsters very much. I don't think he cares about the academy thing other than
23
just to check. Other than just
academy debuts at Sporting Lisbon.
Other than just
23 young Portuguese
I know.
debuts
I know.
at Sporting Lisbon.
How many has he had here? I know
0.
Eric Ten Hag was big on it because he knew it was important and he knew they gave him air cover. And like the thing is, Ruben Amorim needs to do himself favors. He doesn't do favors with the formation. He doesn't do favors in the pressers. He doesn't do favor by throwing freebies by giving like Shea Lacey, 18-year-old, like 6 minutes. Like just give him throw. You've been doing it with Kobe Manu, like begrudgingly. Do it as well. We're not. Here's the thing: is we're not going to be relying on Shea Lacey during AFCON because he said that, but that's nonsense. Because if he was,
Mount gets injured.
Mount will get injured. Cunha is still coming up to form. Seshko is injured. He's coming back in, but right now he's injured. So we're gonna somebody's
Might
got to
need
score
him.
goals.
Like you know, like
We're thin, bro. We're thin in attack. Anyway,
we're thin. That's it. That's the podcast. It's the Wolves. Don't worry, we're gonna get them again. It's been a hell of a season. The ups and downs. You gotta kind of hold your head high and take this one out for a ride here, sir.
this is it. We're exactly who you thought we were. Up and down, around and around. You never know what you're going to get with this Manchester United side. But we're in the fight, so we're in 6th place. And we could finish 8th. We could finish 12th. We could finish 5th.
Cautiously optimistic.
You never know. Like, we could beat
Cautiously,
Villa.
Here's the thing. People yelling online about Amorim in, Amorim out, system this, system that. Nobody knows where it's going to go.
No.
Nobody,
No.
including, by the way,
You and me.
Barada,
No, they got no
Wilcox,
trust the process.
Ratcliffe yelling at each other in the stands, 1-1 halftime, everyone on social media, and this manager, and nobody knows where it's going. We have no idea where this train stops. But that's it. That's the pod. You like the American Devils? Check us out at AmericanDevils.store. We got a Patreon page, patreon.com/AmericanDevils. We're talking United till we die, sir. This team, we love it. Can't give up on it. Need to keep fighting. Let's go.
Fight the good fight. Top 10 cities last 7 days. Appreciate every single one of you. Number one, how you doing? How you doing? Chicago, Illinois, New York, Los Angeles, California, Dublin, Ireland, Charlotte, North Carolina, Oslo, Norway, Melbourne, Australia, Portland, Oregon, Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Brooklyn, New York. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out, up, down, round and around. Where will we go? Nobody knows. Manchester United. Come on to Bournemouth. Let's get a win. Come on, United. Let's go.
Bruno, take the